Welcome back to the Red Zone. Hector Carrion and Joey Dwyer, and we're sitting down with first-team All-American and MVC cross-country runner of the week, Jack Ansty. And Jack Ansty's fresh off English is hard today. It's been a long day. We'll get it together, though. He's coming off of winning the 8K at the Illinois State Invite this past weekend, where he not only won that event, but he set a personal best time. And Jack, thanks for joining us in the studio once again.
No, thank you for having me. My pleasure.
And Jack, before we dive into what happened last week and what happened, what's going to happen in the season to come, I just wanted to talk a little bit about your 1500 meter, last year at the NCAA championships. You finished 7th in the nation. And what was the experience like running with the best collegiate runners in the country and really keeping pace?
Yeah, no, it was an incredible experience. I remember sitting down with you guys last year in the spring, and you guys kind of asked me what was next, and it was to try and get to NCAAs and get that All-American finish, and to get to that meet was extremely difficult, and it was a long road to get there. But then, to get there and actually produce a good result was just really exciting, and I feel like it's great momentum coming into this year, and looking to build on it for sure.
And we talked about it a little before the show started, but we had you on last year, fresh off of the sub 4-minute mile, and you said it. We asked you what snacks. You told us what snacks, and you did that. That's what you did. So how do you keep on building on that? Because you've achieved so much already. You're just a junior. How do you keep on building on that? Do you keep training harder? What changes you have to make to keep improving? Because we've seen when you set your mind to it, you'll make those improvements, and what you say you'll do it.
Yeah, I think. I think at the start of my career, things didn't go my way, which we spoke about last time as well, and I just always had this hunger and thought that if I did get on track, which I eventually did, that I wasn't going to stop doing what I wanted to do. So as soon as things started to take a turn, sort of 2 years ago, it was just about keeping rolling, and obviously last year was great, but at the end of the day, no one cares now. It's fun to look back on and everything, but it's all about right now and staying in the present. So for me, it's just it's going to be fun to look back on at the end of my career for sure. But I really just want to keep pressing forward and keep achieving what I want to do.
And just to touch on some more adjustment type things, what are some adjustments that you personally have to make between running long distance track events and then switching over to cross country in the fall?
Yeah, it's interesting, sitting back with my coach, sort of reviewing the year after NCAAs on the track last year. We kind of just talked about the 6 guys who beat me kind of thing, and what kind of separated them from me, and the one thing that we kind of came to an agreement on was that they're all really world-class cross-country runners, and I wasn't coming into this year necessarily that good, and that was the only difference. So going into the summer, I just kind of tried to have a positive mindset going to cross-country, and up the mileage a little bit, up the training intensity, and things are going well, and results are coming.
And was that transition that you had to make, was it a tough one? Because obviously they're 2 different things. The events are different. The distances are different. Was that a tough transition? Because there's a reason that there's cross country and track. Mm-hmm. So do those events, is that a big hurdle to jump over?
Yeah, it is. I think it's just more mentally than anything. It's cross country is just a real grind. You've got to get out there and be willing to hurt, which is something that I'd probably struggled with a little bit in the past. But I think, like I said, sitting down and having that conversation and knowing that, hey, this is all that's separating me from, being able to contend for a national title. The pain really isn't that hard to deal with when you're contesting for those sort of things. So it's a tough transition, but at the same time, if you want it bad enough, you'll just get it done at the end of the day.
And that transition clearly has worked out for you. As you're, like Hector said earlier, Missouri Valley Conference Cross Country Runner of the Week. had a personal best at the 8K. So moving forward in this cross-country season, what are some goals that you have set for yourself as maybe somebody who doesn't consider themselves like an elite cross-country runner, but you're starting to prove that you are here in the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, like last week was great for me. Obviously, it was a fantastic start, and there's nothing really I can be too disappointed with. But at the same time, like, to be at an elite level in the NCAA in regards to cross country, like I've still got a long way to go, and I'm not going to shy away from that at all. So, for the upcoming meets, it's just we've got Mizzou next week, and then I believe we've got Bradley after that in another 3 weeks' time. So, if I really want to be competitive, like I need to be getting top 10 finishes in those kind of races. And again, it's just about that mindset of not shying away and going in believing that you can compete. And that's where I'm at the moment. I just believe that I can. So.
And let's look into the future a little bit now, because we all see the performance. We see you perform. We see how fast you can run. What is there plans? Maybe I know you're a junior. I know a lot of collegiate athletes, a lot of collegiate runners, cross country runners. A lot of them have that Olympic aspiration. Is that something you have? Is there something that you want to kind of pursue in the future with running, whether it's the Olympics or maybe getting into coaching? Is that something that you kind of want to pursue?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There'd be no prouder moment to, represent Australia at the Olympic Games or a major championship. It seems like a childhood dream, and it is. Like, I've just always thought about it and how amazing it would be. But yeah, like that's certainly what I want to do, and it's getting closer and closer every year. And again, like I just can't get too far ahead of myself. I've just got to stay in the present, and hopefully if I can continue on the same path that I have the last couple of years, those things will come, and that would be fantastic.
And you mentioned representing Australia. For those of you listening, if you can't already tell, Jack is from Australia. So Jack, you're a long way from home.
I am.
What are some of the things you miss the most about not being where you grew up until coming here to ISU?
Look, I'm sure my mom will be listening to this at some point, so I will say her cooking. Actually, I went home during the summer, and she cooked every meal for me, and I tell you what, it's been hard since I've got back to transition back into the dining centre. But I miss a lot of things, but at the same time, like I love America. It's a fantastic place. ISU's given me so much, and I'm going to be forever grateful for that. But there is times, mate, where it's there's some things from home that I miss a little bit. So.
Okay, and you mentioned the mom's cooking, and this is something I wanted to ask. So what he asked, it was more of a broad, what do you miss? This one is it's about food.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly like how different like our cuisine is compared to Australian cuisine, but what's the one food that you don't have here that you had back in Australia that you miss the most?
That is a hard question to answer, because I feel like the food, like the cuisine, isn't too different.
Yeah.
It's just like how it's cooked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I figured that.
Like I hate to stereotype Americans, but everything is just, infused with the saturated fats.
And that's fair.
Stuff.
And that's a fair.
Whereas maybe in Australia, it's not like that as much. That's a hard question to answer, because I feel like everything's the same. But like if I have a burger, like a cheeseburger or a pizza, like here compared to back home, like it's not the same.
I completely get that. Yeah.
And one more question before we let you go here. You've had a very interesting experience as opposed to like somebody who's just a traditional foreign exchange student, where
Absolutely.
you get to go across the country with the teams. What is your favorite place that you've gotten to travel while being here in the States?
California. Palo Alto. Beautiful place. It might just be because like whenever we go to California, it's all business. Like if you're going that far, you're going to run fast, and like that's where some of my best results have been. But also like normally when we go to California, it's in like March and the weather is just awful here, and then we get out there and it's beautiful, which is a lot like Australia actually. So, yeah, California, no doubt.
You see, I've never been to California. I've always wanted to go.
Oh, wow.
It's never been.
You got to
Oh,
make
yeah.
the trip. Got to
You
make the
got it.
trip.
So one more thing, because you left us with something to look forward to last year when you left the show, and you did that. You told us what you wanted to do, and you went on and did it. So just looking at your performance so far in this season, what's that one goal that you have this season that you're just really thriving to get to achieve?
Yeah, I think it would be awesome to win Missouri Valley Conference title in cross country, and then heading over to the track. Like, I think, it gives me goosebumps every time I say it, but it'd be great to try and win a national title on the track. I think, like I said, there's only 6 guys ahead of me last year, and I think I know what I have to do to beat them this time around. So, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Well, we've seen what you can do. We are looking forward to what you have yet to do. That was Jack Ansty. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. Once again, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be sitting down with Joel Durnford from Redbird Golf, and you guys might come to find that Jack and Joel have a couple things in common. You're listening to the Red Zone on 103.3 WZND.